Basketball genius, past master revolutionizes slam dunk universe. Please like, share and subscribe. Episode 1. Huh? What's the situation? Bai Ze suddenly sat up from the bed and looked around in amazement. In front of me is a slightly humble room, and everything in the room is extremely unfamiliar. The only thing that is certain is that this is not my home. Just when Bai Ze was dazed, suddenly fragmentary memories flooded into his mind. The amount of information almost burst the brain capacity, and after a period of dizziness, Bai Ze finally sorted out his situation. It turns out, I've crossed over. And Bai Ze is a creator of a video platform known for his appearance, specializing in explaining some anime. Just now, he was still live analyzing the slam dunk national competition. But I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, I was already in the world of slam dunk. A handsome boy with the same name and surname, although he is in the slam dunk world, but he is SOSO in basketball, but his reputation is very dry. Shirasawa, a third-year student at Yokota Junior High School in Kanagawa Prefecture, is a well-known bad boy. The original physical condition is indeed amazing: height 188 centimeters, weight 90 kilograms, strong body, flexibility, coordination are excellent. This top-level physical condition is indeed a dimensionality reduction blow when placed on a fight. Together with the 5-person group of Wamitsu Middle School, they are called Kanagawa's worst new forces. But unfortunately, these two bad giants have not yet directly dealt with each other. However, he also has one thing in common with the Wamitsu Sakuragi army, that is, although they are both bad teenagers, they never bully the weak at will, and they have not joined some bad clubs in society. As for basketball, Hara is not so interested. Although he is in the Yokota Junior High School basketball club, he has not participated in a single game so far, let alone the game, and he has not been to training. Joining the basketball club is all about the sake of hanging up. Yokota Middle School has become a little famous in the middle school basketball industry in recent years, and the basketball coach Kazuharu Takizawa has long set his sights on Shirasawa. But helplessly Bai Ze was not interested at all, and after several times, it was not until the 3rd grade year that he had an opportunity, because Bai Ze accumulated too much black material and faced the situation of being expelled. Taking advantage of this, Coach Takizawa reached an agreement with Shirasawa to join the basketball club and win glory for the school. After that, for nearly a year, Bai Ze's only contribution to the basketball team was to straighten out discipline. As long as Bai Ze appeared, all the team members did not dare to breathe. As for basketball, it was never touched. Coach Takizawa once lamented after drinking that he was lucky to meet a real genius, but he was not a bull. Bai Ze slowly cleared the memory of the original body, and couldn't help but give a thumbs up. There is character. Today is the day of the Kanagawa Junior High School basketball finals. Yokota Middle School successfully reached the finals with its excellent overall strength, and the opponents they will face made Bai Ze's eyes shine immediately. It is led by Rukawa Kid, Fushio Middle School. In the previous rounds, Bai Ze was all absent, but in this final, Coach Takizawa repeatedly ordered him to be present, close to graduation, and made an attitude to the school. It should be said that Takizawa is really good, not relative, and he takes good care of Bai Ze. I just don't know if his daughter's name is Lola. Right now. Knock knock. After a few quick knocks on the door, I heard an indifferent and pleasant voice like a royal sister. Get up, Xiaobei. Bai Ze returned to his senses. Pull the door open after putting on a pair of pants. The sunlight slowly shone in, and the scene in front of him made Bai Ze slightly stunned. In front of the door is a beautiful shadow, under the long brown hair is a delicate melon face, beautiful eyes are large and spirited, and the mouth is like the petals of a rose. At first glance, it shows the style of a mixed-race beauty. The woman did not feel embarrassed when she saw Bai Ze bare-chested, the corners of her mouth rose slightly, and she stretched out a slender finger and clicked Bai Ze's brain, and a faint smell of perfume entered the tip of her nose. You said that you are going to the game today. What time is it and you are still sleeping? After that, the woman walked into the house with her own care, opened the curtains, and simply cleaned up. Bai Ze turned around and looked at the beauty with a faint smile. This beauty, of course, knows. Basketball Weekly reporter, Sanai Nakagawa. This was a beautiful encounter that Shirasawa had a year ago. At that time, Sanai was blocked by a few gangsters who drank too much and teased, and was just bumped into by Bai Ze. In fact, it is not called any heroes to save the beauty, but simply can't get used to their style. So in Sanai's panicked eyes, Bai Ze was like a god, and easily put down those few gangsters. The wild nature of men is vividly displayed at this moment. From that moment on, Sanai's heart planted this tall and handsome big boy who stood up for her. Bai Ze also had no relatives and no reason, and in the meantime, the two became the current state of unfulfilled lovers on Yuta. A few minutes later, Shirasawa finished washing, and Sanai cleaned up the whole room. She was sitting on the sofa with her legs crossed, looking at Bai Ze with interest. That body is particularly alluring, and it also carries an elegant temperament that ordinary women do not have. Sports boy, are you going to win the championship today? Speaking of this problem, Bai Ze was a little annoyed. The power system of this world is undoubtedly basketball, and in the previous life, Bai Ze was a basketball enthusiast, but theory is greater than practice. Now although there is this talented body, but this body is invincible in fighting, and I really haven't played before. How to develop later is completely clueless. It doesn't matter to me whether I win the championship or not, and Coach Takizawa probably won't let me play. Listening to Bai Ze's answer, Sanai opened her mouth in amazement. The reason why she works as a basketball reporter is, of course, because she likes basketball and likes it very much. Bai Ze's physical condition, as long as he is not blind, can basically be seen. But Bai Ze told everyone again and again with practical actions, let's dye this heart. But at this moment, Bai Ze's words seemed to have a hint of turn. Bai Ze looked at the stunned Sanai, casually threw the towel on her, and said with a smile, let's go to the scene first. Sanai took the towel, a glint flashed in her eyes, and the smile on her face became a little stronger. Okay, let's go. Episode 2. Bai Ze sits in the co-pilot, the beautiful street scene outside the window, next to the beautiful driver, inhale and have a faint fragrance, this life is really heart-wrenching. As for the game for a while, Bai Ze still didn't have any ideas. Based on his past deeds, if Coach Takizawa let him play, unless he went out in the morning and his head squeezed the door. And even if he went up, Bai Ze didn't think he could do anything. Including Sanai, the heart is also clear. It's just that in order for Bai Ze to graduate successfully, today she is dragging him over. But today's Bai Ze really surprised her. Xiaobei, graduation is about to be faced after the final, have you ever thought about which high school to go to? After the final, Shirasawa is about to graduate, and the whole of Yokota Middle School is expected to clap their hands to bid farewell to this great god. Like the members of the junior high school basketball team, most of them do not worry about the problem of choosing a school, and some high school basketball teams in Kanagawa will recruit them in advance according to their needs. But Bai Ze has not received an invitation from any school so far. In front of him, there are few good schools to choose from. Seeing that Bai Ze didn't speak, Sanai was not angry, and there was a hint of expectation in her eyes. You can considering Tsukutake, I am very familiar with their basketball club coach, and that school is still good. Suhizatake. This Bai Ze must know it well. The locomotive Huang Mao Nango Junichiro, and Takeshi Akaji's old classmate Yukazu Udai. However, Bai Ze was not interested in this. The priority now is to see if you can play basketball. If it weren't for that piece of material, what would it take a while? It's better to go to Wuyuan High School to raise your eyes. Besides, it's not time to decide. Bai Ze replied with a look of indifference. This answer was expected by Sanai, and it can be regarded that the emperor is not in a hurry, and the eunuch is in a hurry. She was also used to it, just smiled, anyway, she didn't care where Bai Ze went to school, even if it wasn't okay, so what? Kanagawa Prefectural Gymnasium. This year's National Middle School League Final is still held at the Prefectural Gymnasium. In the high school basketball industry, Hainan High School has dominated Kanagawa Prefecture for 16 consecutive years, but in the past 2 years, represented by Shenyang High School, several major high schools have gradually seen the hope of catching up with Hainan. They are eager to break Hainan's 16-year monopoly. Therefore, the National Middle School League in the past 2 years has also attracted much attention, and many high schools hope to select excellent talents from it to strengthen their strength. And this year's final has a very attractive player. Kid Rukawa. Kid Rukawa's strength has long been spread in the basketball circle of Kanagawa High School. Scores are like chopping melons and cutting vegetables, as long as he wants, 40 points or even 50 points can be obtained. Of course, the shortcomings of Rukawa Kid are also obvious, and there is no sense of teamwork. But in the eyes of the high school coach, this is not a big deal. Which of the real players cannot have a bit of personality? It's good to tame him. Half an hour before the game, the entire stadium was full. Many members and coaches of high school basketball teams also gathered here. Coach, the biggest hit this year is the one called Rukawa Kid. I just saw that Coach Tauka from Lingnan is also here, as well as Buri and Sukutake. I'm afraid we in Xiangbei won't be able to grab them. In the stands, a young man wearing glasses and looking at Sven said lonely. Next to him, a fat old man like a ball with white hair, laughing is particularly infectious. Roar, Twilight, we are not here to grab Lu Chuanfeng. Take a look at the current level of the National Middle League, maybe we will find a suitable player for us. That's right. This fat old man is a white-haired pig. White-haired devil, Coach Anze. Mu Twilight looked at the court and sighed sadly. Xiangbei's results in the past 2 years have been extremely stable and have been in the bottom ranks. There are no players in the team other than Captain Takeshi Akaji, including him, the vice-captain. This year, Xiangbei was eliminated early again without suspense, and next year will be his and Akaji Takeshin's last year in high school. Judging from the current situation, if there is no super newcomer joining, Ming's ending can already be seen in advance. No matter how strong Akaji Gangxian is, Xiangbei will not go further, as their opponent said, wrapping Akaji, Xiangbei will be helpless. If Rukawa Kid can come to Xiangbei, and he and Akaji cooperate, then next year will really have infinite possibilities. But how could it be possible to rob those teams? And Coach Anze seems to mean tactical abandonment. Other players? Without super offensive ability, it can't help Akaji share the pressure, and the one who is really suitable for Northern Xiangbei is really only Rukawa Feng. What else can Coach Anze say is suitable? 5 minutes before the game. With cheers from the audience, players from both teams officially entered. Kid Rukawa. Kid Rukawa. In particular, Kid Rukawa's name resounded almost throughout the audience, and the girls played the of star chasing to the fullest. But the shouts arrived, but Lu Chuanfeng did not appear in the team. What about Rukawa Kid? Today is the final. What a situation with him. The coach of Fuchio National High School crunched his back teeth, and his eyes were full of anger. Everyone knows that the disadvantage of Rukawa Kid is that there is no team spirit, then everyone only sees the field. Lu Chuan Kid under the field actually has no sense of teamwork. Fuchio's coach knows this well. For example, at this moment, the final will start immediately, and the figure of Rukawa Kid does not know where it is. Fuchio can get to this day, but it all depends on him. It can be said that with or without Rukawa Kid, Fuchio National High School is 2 different teams. On the opposite side, Yokota Kunijung, it is different, people are playing as a whole, even if there is a lack of individuals, it will not have a huge impact. Under the trade-off, Fuchio's coach felt an infinite sense of crisis. Coincidentally, Yokota also has fewer people. It's just that it really doesn't matter. Even the players didn't think he could come today. I hope he doesn't come. But right now. Bang poof. The doors to the players' tunnel were pushed open again. A tall and handsome figure walked out. The stands suddenly became lively. Who is this? Why haven't you seen it before? It looks like it's Yokota, and it feels like it's powerful. Wow. This classmate is so handsome. More handsome than Kid Rukawa. This man is also so tall, is it? Is it a secret weapon kept by Yokota? The audience certainly felt that he was strange because he had never been in a game. But Yokota's team members are different. Seeing this figure, he trembled tacitly. For nothing. Bai Ze is here. Episode 3. Bai Ze. This way. Coach Takizawa greeted with a look of satisfaction. As Bai Ze's coach, there is only so much he can do, at least not to let the undeveloped basketball talent be expelled. As for the road ahead, he couldn't manage it if he wanted to. Bai Ze nodded and walked unhurriedly to the players' dugout. With one look, 3 or 4 seats were instantly vacated. Bai Ze sat down with a bone, and also sighed helplessly. Fame, I also want to keep a low profile, but my strength does not allow it. Coach Takizawa smiled and patted Bai Ze's shoulder. Xiaobei, this is the first time I've seen you put on your uniform. How? It actually feels good to get to the scene, right? Bai Ze smiled indifferently. For Coach Takizawa, even if it is the predecessor of Bai Ze, he has a good impression of him. After all, people are sincerely thinking about him sincerely. The referee blew the whistle. Both teams of players are ready to officially enter the jump ball. Coach Takizawa brought the players together. Today is our last battle. Win this game and we will become the champion team of the whole county. Each of you will be written into the basketball history of Yokota Kunijungar High School. Go. Go win this championship. Start a new episode in Yokota Kunichu. Coach Takizawa's bloody encouragement was greatly used, and the young players were instantly excited. Clench your fists with excitement. Yokota. Champion. After the whole team roared, the starters walked onto the court like warriors. This scene, even Bai Ze, who had seen countless famous scenes, was a little infected. Although he never got together with the team, let alone participated in the shout. It's not that Bai Ze doesn't want to be gregarious. It's that he's afraid of his teammates. Also at this time, Bai Ze waited for the long-awaited voice. Ding. Take control of the global system binding success. Really? As a member of the vast army of traversal, how can there be no system? It's late, but it's late. Load and optimize the host's various capability values. Ding. Optimization successful. Host, Shirasawa. Height, 188 centimeters, weight 90 kilograms, arm span 195 centimeters, body fat percentage, 7%. Shot, 60, athleticism, 85, possession 65, ball quotient, 85, passing, 99. P.S. The ability value is concise, such as sports ability will be subdivided into bounce, strength, speed, physical fitness, etc., all written out too much land, counted as a comprehensive assessment. Evaluation, the level of a starter with excellent passing. Passing is particularly eye-catching. Innate exercise is also okay. As for shooting. Possession. What? Is there any possibility of growth for this thing? In each subsequent match, as long as the assist is credited, it will be automatically converted into one ability point and part of the cash. Control the overall situation, start by controlling your teammates. This. Alright. Although the ability is not high enough, at least I know the way to grow. This can also be regarded as a passing master. Isn't it easy to brush up on an assist? And assists not only get stronger, but also make money. Where does it make sense? Satisfied. After hanging up the system, Bai Ze unconsciously smiled. Coach Takizawa next to him thought that he was happy to see the situation on the field, and he was very relieved. This kid has finally opened his mind. I just said he was a natural athlete. Isn't this revealed as soon as you get to the arena? Coach Takizawa thinks this because the situation on the field is really optimistic. Until the end of the jump, Rukawa Kid of Fuchio country did not appear in the field. Without Fuchio of Luchuanfeng, his strength suddenly decreased. Just 5 minutes into the opening game, he was beaten by Yokota with a 15-4 mini-climax. Fuchio's coach had an old black face and stood on the sidelines and frantically output to the players. The substitute team members ran to the outside of the field in a different shift, looking forward to the figure of Rukawa Kid. Competitive competition is full of surprises, and there is nothing that cannot be won by words. Especially this kind of championship battle is even more fatal while you are sick. Coach Takizawa did not relent, and pressed the whole army with a wave of his big hand. Beat Lao Tzu to death. The game was lively, and the audience was unknown. Especially the students of Fuchio and everyone who came to see Rukawa Kid. What's going on here? Don't let Rukawa Kid play yet? What the? It's about to be punched out. After the discussion spread, it turned into a full audience. Kid Rukawa. Turn away, Kid plays. But no matter how he shouted, there was never a figure of Luchuanfeng on the field. It didn't show up until the end of the first half. 52-31. Yokota Middle School won the first half by 21 points. From the coach to the players, everyone's joy can be seen with the naked eye. There is still the last half of the game left before the cup. When the midfielder returned to the locker room to rest, Shirasawa took the initiative to find Coach Takizawa. Coach, I want to play in the second half. The voice fell. The cheerful atmosphere of the whole dressing room came to an abrupt end. The bosses of the team opened their eyes one by one. I want to say something, but I dare not say it, like a whip in my throat. Coach Takizawa's complexion is also constantly changing and extremely complicated. 3 years. He waited 3 years for genius. On this last day, the last half of the game. Finally changed my mind. It's late. But no one is looking forward to this moment more than he is. But back to reality, Bai Ze is certainly a genius in his eyes, but he also clearly knows that Bai Ze has not even touched a basketball in the past 3 years. No matter how talented you are, you can't achieve it overnight. This is the final. It's about the hard work of everyone in the team for a season. In case something goes wrong. For example, Bai Ze went up to the wild and grabbed the ball with a plan. The results were unimaginable. This is also the inner thoughts of the team members. Everyone looked at Takizawa with pleading eyes. Coach, don't. Calm down. Ahem. Coach Takizawa coughed lightly and broke the silence. Wait for me to arrange, I will definitely change you at the right time in the second half. After speaking, Coach Takizawa showed a smile of relief. After all, the current format of the competition is still extremely optimistic. After all, he wanted to start Bai Ze's career himself. As for when is the right time? Let's tentatively determine the moment of victory. Getting this answer, Bai Ze also smiled. Full-level passes are impatient. Meanwhile, Fuchio Junior High School dressing room. Bang. The door was pushed open. Then an icy voice came. I'm coming. Episode 4. I'm coming. The person who spoke was none other than Lu Chuanfeng, who was eager to wear in the Fuchio country. Lu Chuanfeng was extremely calm, without a superfluous explanation, and he could not see any guilt. Under the coach's questioning, he calmly said the reason for being late. Slept. The entire dressing room blinked in disbelief. Just slept? Foggy grass. On such an important day you said you slept. 21 points. We trailed by 21 points at halftime. If it weren't for the fact that the team needs him now, I would really like to find a sack to beat him up. Not only does the manager not care, but he is also likely to hand over a weapon or something. Lu Chuan, warm up as soon as possible, the second half will depend on you. The head coach, who had been holding his emotions for a long time, finally loosened his shoulders and squeezed out such a sentence. No way. Looking at the entire Kanagawa Junior High School basketball circle, if you can fill the 21-point hole, there is still this possibility for Kid Rukawa. The coach also knew in his heart that Rukawa Kid did not care too much about this so-called county champion. Just above the stands, there were several famous high schools waiting for him to open his mouth. The strong high school league is Rukawa Kid's next target. So it is useless to give him chicken blood or pressure. At this moment, winning the game is the most important thing. After a short break to adjust. The second half of the game is about to begin. This time both teams entered the ground with full body. Seeing that Ruchuan Kid finally appeared, the Fuchio students in the stands burst out into enthusiastic shouts. The coaches of some teams are also full of expectations. They want to see how capable this super newcomer is, and whether he can create a Jedi counterattack. Coach Taoka of Lingnan in the stands smiled meaningfully, and said in a deep voice, if Lu Chuanfeng is not able to turn the tide in this level of competition, then the gate of our Lingnan may be closed to him. After all, we have that guy here, and if the level is not enough, it will add trouble to him. The guy in Tiangang's mouth is Lingnan's new trump card, Immortal Daozheng. The information of Rukawa Kid's previous match, as a data freak, Taoka has long understood. At present, his style of play requires a lot of ball in hand, and if he does not reach a certain level, going to Lingnan will disrupt the rhythm of Xiandao and destroy the integrity of Lingnan. But if the Ryukawa maple is of sufficient level, then it will form a twin star with Immortal Dao. The picture is so beautiful, Mr. Taoka is a little afraid to think about it. It even takes 1,000 years of killing to calm down. With the referee's whistle, the second half of the game officially begins. The addition of Lu Chuanfeng was obviously a shot in the arm, which instantly brought the team to life. Everyone's eyes and movements have changed significantly. Fuchio jumped to the ball and distributed it directly to Rukawa Kid. Rukawa Kid's eyes showed a cold light, changed direction to accelerate, and directly passed the defender to score under the basket. Coach Fuchio excitedly shook his fists on the sidelines and shouted at his already hoarse voice. Although Fuchio is still 19 points behind. But with Rukawa Kid scoring strongly this time, the atmosphere of the whole stadium has been a little reversed. No way, the fans in Yokota are not too hard, and almost all the girls from the school on the Fuchio side have come to cheer. Bai Ze, who was sitting under the field, watched the game with interest. From the moment Kid Rukawa scored the first goal, it was obvious that Coach Takizawa was a little nervous. The overall level of this edition of the National League is indeed not high. There is almost no second one of this level of Luchuan Feng. Saying that he can turn the tide, Coach Takizawa still has some faith. Bai Ze was in a lively state of mind. Who is the champion? He doesn't care so much, and it's not bad to look at Rukawa Kid when brushing up on small videos. As for the question of when he can play, he doesn't care so much. Anyway, the words were also said, and the coach agreed, you can't threaten him, after all, the uncle is still good. The game intensified on the field, and cheers rose and widened. Rukawa Kid played a wave of 12-4 climax. The difference was chased to 11 points. Only 6 minutes have passed. The 10-point difference is a watershed moment in basketball. Single-digit and 10-digit differences are two completely different scenes. Coach Takizawa immediately called a timeout to interrupt Fuchio's momentum. During the timeout, Takizawa desperately played chicken blood to improve the concentration of the players. After talking for a long time, there was not much effect, and the young players were a little confused at this time, because the first half was too smooth, and it was difficult to go from luxury to thrift. Right at this moment, a voice woke them up. If the next ball doesn't hold, I think you'll need an extra meal. Bai Ze sat on the side and looked at the field with a smile. His voice was not loud, but his aura was full. After speaking, his gaze slowly shifted to them. That powerful sense of oppression suddenly made everyone's backs cold. Have a rude awakening. Luchuan Kid is terrible. Is there a special white boss who is terrible? Defend. Defend. The captain led everyone to shout at the right time, and under Bai Ze's pressure, the morale of the team was temporarily raised. At least in the next round, they will defend with their lives. The timeout ends and the players return to the field. Coach Takizawa sat next to Shirasawa and patted him on the shoulder gratefully. Xiaobei, today's you make me a little unacquainted. Seeing that Bai Ze only smiled slightly, Takizawa didn't say more. Today's Bai Ze not only asked himself to play on the field, but also boosted the morale of the captains, although the methods are debatable. But these have not been seen in 3 years. Coach Takizawa didn't have time to sigh more, and the players on the field successfully stopped Kid Rukawa from attacking this round. Temporarily retained a 10-digit lead. At least a few more rounds can be slowed down to allow more time. The competition also came to a fever pitch. The point difference hovers between 9 and 11 points. Every player on the pitch gave their best. Until there are still 5 minutes left. Kid Rukawa made a 3-pointer against the defense, rewriting the score to 84-78, and the gap between the two sides was reduced to 6 points. At this time, Rukawa Kid had already scored 33 points in the second half. Single-handedly brought the unbalanced game back to suspense. And his solo performance is not over. Continue to change the course of the game with his own offense. Sanai Nakagawa, who was sitting in the audience, had all his eyes on the bench sitting freely. Her eyes shone brightly, staring at Bai Ze's handsome and somewhat cynical face, and smiled. In her opinion, if Bai Zekin went to play basketball, then it must be him who is killing all sides on the court now and cheering for the audience. But this guy. Huh? Suddenly, Sanai Nakagawa opened her mouth in disbelief. Episode 5. Xiaobei, go and warm up. The last 3 minutes of the game. Coach Takizawa gave an order that surprised all the team members. Bai Ze turned his head and looked at him indifferently. Then Takizawa said a few words imperceptibly, and Bai Ze smiled slightly. You made the right choice. There was no surprise to this sudden arrangement. Dropping this sentence, Bai Ze took off his coat and walked to the sidelines to simply move. At this moment, not only Yokota's players, not only Sanai Nakagawa, but almost everyone present was a little confused. From the moment Bai Ze stepped into the ground before the start of the game, most people noticed him. The height of 188 centimeters is also considered to stand out in the basketball industry of middle school, coupled with the strong body, it is clear that he is an athlete, and it is difficult not to pay attention to him. At first, some people thought that he was a secret weapon that he kept, and even Fuchio's coach had been paying attention to Bai Ze's movements. But time went minute by minute, from the one-sided fall in the first half to the turn of the tide in the second half, and never saw Bai Ze have the intention of playing. Until this moment, in the last 3 minutes, the score was clenched, and when it was desperate, this mysterious man actually began to warm up. What medicine is sold in Takizawa's gourd? Shigechi Tauka touched his chin and tried to find the answer. Sanai Nakagawa's heart was pounding. It was as if the picture in the dream was about to become reality. On the bench, the substitute team member dared to come next to Takizawa. Coach. Takizawa knew what they were going to say and stopped them as soon as he raised his hand. His original plan was to let Shirasawa on the court at the moment when the victory was confirmed in the second half and enjoy the honor and fun that basketball brings. But the plan couldn't catch up with the change, and Kid Rukawa's return completely disrupted the direction of the game. With just over 2 minutes left, Yokota had only a 2-point advantage. And in terms of morale, Fuchio, who fought back in the second half, had completely gained the upper hand. If the game continues like this, the final victory must be Fuchio. So, Takizawa made this gambling decision. Let Yokota's mysterious player Shirasawa be the last spoiler. Disturb Fuchio's military heart. At least from the feedback received at this time, it is quite smooth. Bai Ze, who was lazy on the sidelines, had already attracted the attention of Fuchio's players, including the players on the field. Among them, there are many who know Bai Ze and know that he is a ruthless person and a bad person. But I've never heard of him playing basketball. That enviable physical condition, if you play basketball. In short, it is definitely not to be underestimated. Is Yokota really calmed down and only takes out his secret weapon at the moment of life and death? Toot. Last 50 seconds. The referee's whistle sounds. Yokota Middle School was convicted of a defensive foul. Fuchio received 2 free throw opportunities. At this time, the score between the two sides is 90 draws. With this stop, Shirasawa wearing the number 9 jersey officially appeared. Coach Anze, what is the operation of this substitution of Yokota? If this number 9 is a secret weapon, why stay until this moment? But if he is not some secret weapon, then it is too ridiculous to play at this moment, right? In the audience, Mu Dugonjian pushed his glasses with a puzzled face. He, like most of the people present, was completely confused. Coach Anze laughed knowingly. In terms of qualifications, he is a coach who can be ranked among Kanagawa and even the whole country. The various changes on the pitch are hard to escape his eyes. Twilight, if you think like this, it proves that Coach Takizawa's purpose has been achieved. This player is the last and riskiest card in Coach Takizawa's hand. I think he also decided suddenly, roar, roar. But in my opinion, this child is not simple. Mu Twilight looked at the smiling Coach Anze with confusion. Listen to Jun E.G. It's like listening to a seat. After talking for a long time, it seemed that nothing was said. But the coach seems to be very optimistic about that number 9. Well, it does look like a master. Under everyone's gaze, Bai Ze officially stepped into the stadium. Now the evaluation given by the system is the level of a starter with excellent passing, and the various ability values are actually around 70. It can be said that the comprehensive ability of most players on the field is not as good as Bai Ze. The position is relatively vague, and no Yokota player on the field knows what position Shirasawa plays. But Coach Takizawa waved his hand and pointed his sword at Kid Rukawa. This wave of operations made Bai Ze's mystery continue to explode. In terms of height, Bai Ze is comparable to Rukawa Feng, but Bai Ze's advantage in body size is visible to the naked eye. Add to that the fierceness he exudes and the level of trust his coach shows. No one dares to believe that he and Rukawa Kid are players of the same level. Even Rukawa Kid himself was highly concentrated at this time. The game continues. 50 seconds. Kid Rukawa walked to the free throw line and hit 2 free throws steadily. 90-92. Fuchio Middle School leads for the first time in the field. Yokota bottom line serve. In an instant, the audience gasped. Lu Chuanfeng went directly to guard that number 9. Is that number 9 really a secret weapon? And Coach Takizawa seemed relaxed at this time, looking confident. In fact, his heartbeat has soared, and this dangerous move is developing according to his expectations. Just when he informed Bai Ze to warm up, he had already laid out the plan in its entirety, using Bai Ze's mystery to draw Fuchio's defensive attention and create opportunities for others. The rest depends on how much Bai Ze can understand. At this time, Rukawa keyed and Bai Ze on the field can be regarded as consuming each other, temporarily forming a situation of 4-4. Bai Ze was not idle either, and he gave Takizawa a surprise. Seeing Bai Ze suddenly get up at speed, a reverse run to get rid of Luchuan Feng and rush into the restricted area. Without stopping, he shot out in reverse, and ran to the other side with Ruchuan keyed again 45 degrees. Use the no-ball position to pull Fuchio's entire defense. The ball quotient of 85 is no joke. After a few interspersed with cover, Fuchio's positional defense had been disrupted. Not to mention Fuchio, Yokota's side has made Bai Ze run in circles a little. But the current situation is clear at a glance, there is actually a chance. Coach Takizawa didn't have time to be surprised, and when he saw this, he immediately shouted at the field, "Take advantage of now. Attack." Swish. Yokota used this gap to score 2 points for an inside layup. In 33 seconds, the two teams drew again. Coach Takizawa's heart was turbulent. Bai Ze's no-ball running position he can see clearly, it is definitely not a layman can run out, and even the entire Yokota can't find the second one. Xiaobei. After scoring the goal, Takizawa shouted with excitement and stretched out his arm to point directly at Shirasawa. Bai Ze turned around, and the whole person's state was still very dull. Raise your hand slightly and point to Takizawa. Show the style of a general. Coach Enze, a famous coach in the stands, flashed a flash of essence in his eyes under the reading glasses at this time. Episode 6. 33 seconds. The two sides exchange possessions. In the last round, Rukawa keyed had already seen something as Shirasawa's defender. If Bai Ze chooses to catch the ball and attack, he just has at least 2 or 3 chances. But he didn't. This also made Luchuan Feng extremely puzzled. At the same time, it also made him more curious about Bai Ze's true strength. Keyed Rukawa catches the ball at the back. Bai Ze directly pasted the whole field defense. This move instantly exploded in the audience. Ace to ace. Coach Takizawa also broke out in a cold sweat. Maybe success or failure is here. I can only hope for Bai Ze's proud physical condition and the most abundant physical strength in the audience. At least it can cause some interference to Luchuan Feng. Keyed Rukawa cautiously held the ball and advanced. Bai Ze only gave some oppression to the body to fight, and he was not eager to grab it. After waiting for the midfield, Bai Ze deliberately opened up some defensive distance. The top of the arc controls the rhythm and looks for space to attack. 17 seconds. 16 seconds. Time passes by second. Everyone's hearts followed. 12 seconds. Keyed Rukawa changes the rhythm of dribbling and suddenly starts. One accelerates to wipe through the white ZE. But it surprised him a little because it was too easy, too smooth. But I didn't have time to think about it, so I borrowed a cover and directly killed the forbidden area. When everyone's eyes are on this ball. Coach Enze in the stands suddenly spoke, "Mu Twilight, pay attention to that number 9. When Mu Twilight heard this, he had some doubts in his heart, but he immediately changed his gaze. I saw that Bai Ze was swimming outside everyone and was circling the forbidden area from the other side. What is he? Coach Enze nodded in satisfaction and smiled deeply. Luchuan Feng was about to die and jumped high in 3 steps, and the inevitable attack was about to succeed. Right at this moment. Bang! The sudden physical contact startled Luchuan Feng's heart. Is he? The jumping Luchuan Feng just hit Bai Ze on the ground. He didn't notice Bai Ze's appearance at all. Swoosh! Rukawa keyed, who lost his center of gravity in the air, still threw the ball out. Bang! Both fell to the ground at the same time. Everyone held their breath. Watching the basketball turn the box upside down, it finally fell into the ball king. But at the same time. Toot! The referee's whistle blows. Number 4 Fuchio Middle School, offensive foul, goal invalid. After a short silence, Yokota Middle School erupted into loud cheers. Mu Twilight Gongyin's eyes were still staring at Bai Ze. His mouth opened slightly, unable to believe that a middle school student could make such a calm choice at such a moment of life and death. Plausible. It's so reasonable. No wonder Coach Anze said he wasn't simple. On the other side, Shigechi Tauka's brows also furrowed. Bai Ze's series of actions, of course, could not escape his eyes. His feeling is that the number 9 is judged on the field completely beyond his own age, and his style of play is quite mature. In time, it may be the cornerstone of the team. It's just that he is not the person Lingnan needs at the moment. In comparison, Lu Chuanfeng's super attack power can make Lingnan like a tiger with wings and dominate the country. Back on the field. There are 8 seconds left in the game. 92 draws. Bai Ze won the last chance for the team. At this moment, the fear of his teammates seemed to have suddenly disappeared. The two teammates reached out at the same time and pulled Bai Ze up from the ground. Well done, brother Bai Ze. Thanks to you. Fushio Middle School called the last timeout. Lay out this last defense. On Yokota's side, Takizawa also hurriedly gathered the team together to arrange this most crucial attack. Of course, his mind still echoed Bai Ze's perfect defensive choice just now. It's just that he can't do more memories and amazement at this time. Just as he took out the tactical board and prepared to start painting, Bai Ze stood up for the first time and pressed one hand on the tactical board. Coach, I will control this ball. As soon as the words fell, everyone in Yokota looked at him in amazement. Are you in control? Brother Bai Ze, this is floating, right? Although an important contribution has just been made, this. We don't dare to squeak. Instructor. It's up to you, coach. Don't let Boss Bai go. Coach Takizawa looked up at Shirasawa. He was sure that Bai Ze's eyes had never been so firm. In addition, Bai Ze's series of performances after he came on the field, he saw it all. Perhaps, this genius really fully awakened at this moment? Xiaobai, you first talk about your thoughts. Bai Ze pulled over the tactical board and said word by word, it's good to run positively, remember, I will pass the ball to the person with the best chance at the last moment. And this man, you have to put the ball in for me. Both sides returned to the field. The last 8 seconds of life and death. Fushio Middle School changed to a crowd staring at people, desperately guarding. Yokota didn't even have a chance to send the ball out. Seeing this, Bai Ze immediately made a cover and liberated the guard. At 5 seconds, the defender rushed through the half with the ball. Bai Ze followed and asked for the ball. 4 seconds. For the first time in the game, basketball arrived in Bai Ze's hands. Rukawa Kid stepped forward in front of him, opening his hands and paying full attention. Yokota's players on the field kept running off the ball, fighting for their desperate chances. The hearts of the whole audience were entangled, and their eyes were all locked on Bai Ze and Ru Xuanfeng. Sinai Nakagawa looked particularly calm at this time. The corners of his mouth rose slightly, his beautiful eyes flowed, and Gu Panchang. Because she believes that Bai Ze will definitely create miracles. 3 seconds. Bai Ze finally made a move. Coach Takizawa clenched his fists and held his breath. All the players on the bench stood up, as they did. I saw Bai Ze pull the ball down with his left foot forward at the same time, making an explosive probing step. This moment made Lu Chuanfeng subconsciously withdraw 2 steps to that side. It can be clearly seen that the camera of the camera brother on the sidelines has been tricked into turning the direction. Here's your chance. Bai Ze shot. 2 seconds. The basketball accurately passes through the crotch of a defender at the free throw line and straight to the basket. Trample. The basketball bounces off after hitting the ground. Accurately in the hands of the center who just ran back. Bai Ze's vision seemed to cover the entire half. The timing is just right. The angle is also extremely tricky. The ball bounces right at the chest position. Even the center who received the ball was a little unresponsive. But at this time, there is only the basket left in front of him. Cast. Coach Takizawa on the sidelines roared heartbreakingly. 1 second, the center made a hasty shot. Toot. A whistle accompanied by the end of the game. The basketball flipped upside down on the box. 2 clicks. Episode 7. All the players on the court were fixed in place, staring at the basketball. The same was true for the audience. Basketball is like a naughty child, naughty under everyone's gaze. Finally turned into the basket. In the silence, the referee raised 2 fingers and waved them down vigorously. At the same time, the score on the scoreboard flashed. It became 94-92. 1. We won. Coach Takizawa's earth-shattering roar pulled everyone back to reality. Win. Lore. There's nothing more exciting than a whistle-blowing smash. The audience erupted into enthusiastic applause and cheers. Yokota's substitutes rushed into the arena. The target went straight to their killer, the center. The center who threw into the killer is still in a state of confusion, and he was held up by his teammates in a daze. And Coach Takizawa rushed to Shirasawa, who controlled the overall situation for the first time. A smile also bloomed on Bai Ze's face. He slapped Takizawa hard, and then his palm was held by Takizawa deadly. The man in his 30s had tears in his eyes at this time. The hand holding Bai Ze also trembled slightly. Champions are important. But what made him so excited was Bai Ze's performance. On the last day of this national middle school basketball team, even at the last second, the genius he valued for 3 years finally shined. Xiangbei. I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. You are a real genius player. Bai Ze smiled indifferently. He patted Takizawa's trembling arm with excitement. Thank you, Coach Takizawa. A word of thanks contains a lot. This may also be a sentence that the original body has always wanted to say but has not said. The teammates who were celebrating wildly on the field also suddenly reacted at this time. It seems that the real heroes are Boss White? Then he dropped the center and turned his horse around for an all-army assault. More than a dozen people got carried away and set up Bai Ze and threw him into the air. Brother Bai. Champion. At this moment, in their hearts, Bai Ze was no longer the Bai boss who fought and made people dare not approach. It's about taking control of the whole situation and leading them to victory. Bai Ze also enjoyed the joy of this moment. Of course, joy isn't just about being tossed up and down. There is also the system panel in front of Bai Ze's eyes. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing an assist. Gain ability value 1 point, money 20,000 yuan. The first assist achievement is achieved. Extra bonus ability is worth 10 points, and money is 50,000 yuan. Ability. Banknotes. No less than 1. Life must be full of joy. And in contrast, it is difficult to hide the loneliness on the side of Fuchio. Some players lowered their heads silently, and even shed tears without fighting. There were also some players' eyes staring at Rukawa keyed. If he hadn't been late. It is estimated that Fuchio's head coach is also in this mood. He didn't say anything, just quietly called the players down. In the second half, Rukawa keyed was panting. His mind was still full of Bai Ze's choice before the end of the game. Spy on the step, pass the ball, take away the victory. Why didn't he attack? With this doubt, Rukawa Feng walked to Bai Ze's side. The two looked at each other and stood. It can also be said that the ace players of the two sides face each other. One turned the tide at halftime and almost single-handedly reversed. One only appeared in the last 50 seconds and personally destroyed all of Rukawa Keed's performances. And for everyone, Bai Ze's strength is still unknown. Why didn't you attack yourself in the end? Rukawa Keed's face was expressionless, and the loss of the final did not seem to have any effect on him. Bai Ze looked up at the scoreboard and said indifferently, maybe you don't need it. This answer made Lu Tuanfeng couldn't help but clench his fists. Bai Ze's meaning is obvious, I have already won before I attack. You ask me why? Because you are too weak? Invisible batching, the most deadly, stung this teenager's heart. The audience has begun to retire one after another. Then there are some award presentations, except for the students, others do not care much, after all, the awards in the middle school period are not golden. Coach Enze and Mu Twilight Gongyan also got up and left the field. Finally, Mu Twilight glanced at Bai Ze on the field and pushed his glasses with deep meaning. Coach, you found the right person. Coach Enze roared and smiled, and walked away with his backhand. At this point, this year's middle school basketball league officially came to an end. Yokota High School won their first championship under the leadership of Coach Takizawa. The most valuable player gave the most points in the game and also contributed to the Yokota Center. When he picked up the MVP trophy, he looked at Bai Ze and wanted to give it to him, but he was a little reluctant. It doesn't mean that I mean it, and I'm a little afraid. Bai Ze didn't pay attention to him either, and simply turned to look at the audience. Sanai Nakagawa raised his chin at his most loyal fan. Sanai smiled, put her slender hand to her mouth and raised it slightly, sending out a flying kiss. The same posture, who does it? Sanai makes it with a mature charm, which makes people's hearts ripple. This woman. It's really provocative. After some celebrations when the team returned to school, Shirasawa did not participate again. Coach Takizawa didn't stop either. He knew that Bai Ze was not interested in these, and he was glad enough to take this step today. After that, find another day to have a good chat with Bai Ze, especially when it comes to choosing a school. It is even more prudent and cautious. Don't be buried. Bai Ze took Sanai's car and prepared to go to the commercial street to eat together. The familiar fragrance was still in the car, and Sanai sat in the main driver, took off her high heels and replaced them with a pair of comfortable flat shoes. Xiaobei, you can't fool me as a basketball reporter. When did you start practicing basketball? In her impression, Bai Ze has not been exposed to other sports except for fighting and fitness. But today, Bai Ze's performance completely exceeded her understanding. This can't help but arouse women's natural curiosity. Bai Ze stretched out and leaned lazily towards the co-pilot. I said today, do you believe it? Sanai chuckled, seeing that he didn't want to say it, and stopped asking. Then the whole body leaned over, facing Bai Ze's 4 eyes, stretched out a hand slowly. Put on his co-driver's seatbelt. Bai Ze swallowed his saliva unconsciously. That's probably what the saying goes. Sister is wonderful, sister is good, sister has high ideological consciousness. It's a mature little wildcat. Episode 8. 3 days later. Yokota Kunijung. The craze for basketball teams to win championships has slowly faded. The campus has returned to its former comfort. 2 classes in 3 years. The last table by the window remains empty. The teachers on the podium have long ignored this. That great God, it is much better not to come than to come. The basketball hall, which has been closed for 3 days, is open today, which is particularly lively. Because today is the day the 3rd graders say goodbye to the basketball team. From then on, they will no longer be part of the Yokota basketball team, and then they will most likely be opponents when they meet on the court in high school. There are a total of 6 students in the 3rd grade of the basketball team, and they are also the main players in this championship. The center who won the MVP is said to be moving to Osaka in high school. The remaining seniors basically have a choice. For most of them, basketball is not the only one, just a hobby. They know what level they are the main force in Yokota, and when they reach high school, the basketball team may be nothing. What they discussed most at this point was not about separation. It's Basketball Weekly. The latest issue of Basketball Weekly is available today. Even if it is the final of the junior high school league, it does not occupy a good section. It's nice to have a separate page to introduce. On this page, there is not much aftertaste of the game. Luchuan Maple alone occupies a lot of positions. Although Fuchio is the losing side, there are topical figures. Yokota players pay attention to another small plate. Yokota's winner and loser. The accompanying picture is Shirasawa. It details Bai Ze's performance in the last 50 seconds. Pulling the defense, creating an offensive foul by Kid Ryukawa, and the last pass that went straight to the Yellow Dragon. The introduction is not very important, but it makes people remember this key number 9. And the party Bai Ze did not appear in the stadium until the end of the farewell party. Because he was receiving several heavyweight guests. Well, it can also be said that the weight of the body weight. Shirasawa family. There were 2 people sitting on the sofa, and it was obvious that the sofa was almost supported to the limit, and the creaking sound should be its last stubbornness. These 2, one black and one white, one tall and one short. One has a fierce face and an imposing face, and the other has a smile on his face. It is the coach of the basketball team of Shonhoku High School, Mitsuyoshi Anze, and the captain Takeshi Akaji. The day after winning the championship in Yokota Kunichu, Coach Enze contacted one of his former disciples, Kazuharu Takizawa. That is, Coach Takizawa of the Yokota National Junior High School basketball team. On the phone, Coach Anze directly expressed his appreciation for Bai Ze. Takizawa was overjoyed. If Coach Anze can teach Bai Ze, it will really be the best result. The white-haired devil back then was not a waste, and no player had ever seen it. Bai Ze's potential will definitely be fully exploited. Then, Takizawa detailed the process of enlightening Shirasawa basketball. Coach Anze summed up 4 words with a smile. Mess. After learning that Shirasawa had not yet chosen a school, Coach Anze decided to come with Captain Akagi to visit. There is this scene. Of course, Kazuharu Takizawa was also in the house. Cramped up on the stool next to Coach Anze. In fact, from the moment they entered the house, Bai Ze already had a number in his heart. Although he didn't know that Anthe and many other coaches also went to the finals, he saw the Basketball Weekly report about his 52nd playing time. Because that plate was sent by Sanai Nakagawa. When Sanai told him, it was already a foregone conclusion. This sister still has quite a character. Because of the existence of this report, the significance of Coach Anze's sudden visit is self-evident. Moreover, Kazuharu Takizawa is also there. Regarding the choice of high school, in fact, Bai Ze also had an idea in his heart. It is Xiangbei. Feelings are one thing. On the other hand, it is Bai Ze's master pass. If paired with Donkey Kong Akagi Takeshi and Flying Sakuragi Hanamichi, Shinobi will become a city of empty connections. The outer line also ambushes Mitsui Sho. That assist is not a good coming. It's just that so far he hasn't told anyone what he thought about Xiangbei in the past. After Kazuharu Takizawa introduced several people separately, Takeshi Akagi took the lead in cutting to the topic. Bai Ze, our Xiangbei basketball team has always aimed to dominate the whole country. I haven't watched your game, but Coach Anze appreciates you a lot, and I came here today mainly to see what you think. Akagi had a black orangutan face, and he didn't speak in the slightest, plus his King Kong-like figure, which was particularly intimidating. But Bai Ze was not shocked at all. Still full of relaxed and calm face. Kazuharu Takizawa couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Talented. This is the big heart of genius. Never disturbed by outside pressure. Xiaobai, you must agree. Without waiting for Bai Ze to speak, Coach Anze laughed. Xiaobai, I was on the scene in that game, and I saw your performance. I also learned a little about you from Coach Takizawa. We invite you to come to Xiangbei to give it a try. I think you have the ability to take the team to the next level. After Coach Anze finished speaking, Akagi was shocked in his heart. This rating is really high. After Mitsui's show, Akagi had never met anyone who could get Coach Anze to recognize him so much. Does this man in front of him, who looks a little cynical, have such ability? At this moment, the room is very quiet. They are all waiting for Bai Ze's answer. Especially Kazuharu Takizawa, his heartbeat is about to exceed the speed limit. After a few seconds, Bai Ze straightened up and finally gave the answer. Thank you Coach Anze for your approval. I am willing to join the Xiangbei basketball team. Ryuzawa Kazuji immediately shook his fist excitedly and shouted, good. He was really more excited than the party Bai Ze. Coach Anze also laughed contentedly. After Ruji Tanazawa, he seems to see hope again. And this child is much more mature than Guze back then. In time, it will become a great thing. A day later. Rukawa Kid also welcomed guests. The people who came were Lingnan's basketball coach Shigechi Tauka and Captain Jun Yusumi. After Coach Tauka's beautiful output for the future, he was miserably rejected by Rukawa Kid. The reason is that Xiangbei is closer to home. This inhumane reason simply made Coach Tauka strenuous. But fortunately, Shigechi Tauka made a second preparation. I heard that the number 9 player of Yokota Middle School just agreed to Xiangbei's invitation yesterday. Lu Chuanfeng's eyes suddenly widened. Huh? Episode 9. Shigechi Tauka is not careless. In order to improve the team, he works every player. For example, Lingnan's supernova this year, Sendo Chang. He was dug up by Shigechi Tauka from Tokyo. Last year's Lingnan was not a strong team in Kanagawa, but the Sendo of the junior high school period had already made a name for himself. The difficulty factor of digging the immortal path can be imagined. But in the end, Shigechi Tauka was finished. And after Xiandao joined, he quickly integrated into the team, making Lingnan the top 4 team in the county competition this year. This time the Final Four also allowed Shigechi Tauka to see the potential of the team. If Lu Chuanfeng joins again, next year will definitely be the time for Lingnan to take off. There is also the love that Shigeru Tauka brought up with his hands. Next year, he will be in the 3rd grade, and due to family factors, it is very likely that after graduation, Yuju will directly inherit his father's business and inherit the family's business. So, next year may be the last year of his basketball career. Tauka also hopes to bring his disciple's career to a perfect end. Therefore, for the player keyed Rukawa, Shigechi Tauka must fight for it. Rukawa Feng's character has long been touched by Tian Gang. The beautiful portrayal of the future at the time of recruitment is one aspect and a prerequisite. If it is useless, there will naturally be follow-up preparations. The backhand that Tauka prepared before was actually Sendo Akira. The performance of Xiandao this year is obvious to all. It is even no less than Rukawa Kid's way of chopping melons and cutting vegetables in the middle school league. He knew that compared to the team, Rukawa Kid preferred to compete with the strong. So, he was ready to stimulate him by challenging the immortal Dao. But just yesterday, Shigechi Tauka accidentally learned a news. It is Yokota's number 9 Shirasawa who has agreed to enter Shinobi High School. Recalling the day of the junior high school final, Shigechi Tauka immediately had a more perfect battle plan. Revenge Shirasawa. Bai Ze's performance on the day of the final must have planted a seed in Rukawa Kid's heart. 50 seconds, 1 defense and 1 pass, eclipsed the powerful Lu Chuanfeng. With the character of Lu Chuanfeng, how could he not want to take revenge? Outcome. Just like Shigeru Tauka. After Lu Chuanfeng heard the news, his eyes changed instantly. A moment later, Lu Chuanfeng's body faintly exuded a fierce momentum. I promised to join Lingnan. The corners of Tauka Shigeru's mouth turned upwards and he nodded with satisfaction. Now, his eyes were full of expectation. Yokota Kunijung. The graduation ceremony of the 3rd year of junior high school officially ended. The students said goodbye to each other. This time, Bai Ze also appeared in it. It's just that the reputation is outside, so that the male students spontaneously avoid it. There are quite a few confession letters on the table. In the eyes of boys, Boss White is synonymous with badness. But girls are different. Is this called a ruffian? What can't be solved by appearance? Kazuharu Takizawa kept sending Shirasawa to the school gate. Now he is also the champion coach of the middle school basketball circle, and the whole person seems to be a little more spirited. Xiaobei, after coming to Xiangbei to listen to the teachings of Coach Anshi, he is very famous. And don't always cause trouble at school. It's not like our side over there, no one really helps you when something happens. It's good to come back to the basketball team when I have time and help me sort out the record. Listening to Coach Takizawa's endless chatter, Bai Ze's heart still felt very warm. After leaving school, Bai Ze walked all the way home. Just today, he learned an exaggerated news. Kid Rukawa of Tomiokuni High School joins Lingnan High School. For a player of Kid's level like Rukawa, his movements can easily become a topic of discussion. Bai Ze really didn't expect this turn. Because of his own joining, he really made some deviations in the world. Most likely because of that final. Shigechi Tauka, that old fox, really can seize opportunities. In this way, Lingnan's paper strength is already quite strong. The 3 giants of Yusumi, Sendo, and Rukawa Kid gathered. In terms of scoring explosiveness, it is already at the national level. Moreover, there is still someone in Lingnan who will return. Fukuda Auspicious Omen. The long look is not pretty, but the scoring ability is still very strong. Now it's even more interesting. It seems that it is necessary to hurry up and get the lineup of Xiangbei, so as not to have any more deviations. The City of Empty Connections is a project that must be launched. Otherwise, if the assist is not good, you will not be able to become stronger in a short time. In his cranky thoughts, Bai Ze suddenly found that he had gone the wrong way. Looking left and right, I didn't see the road signs, but I saw a few people sneakily pulling up the wall. A stocky man with yellow hair curls and 2 small dorsals of medium build. This is Sakuragi Legion? Bai Ze's eyes lit up, and he walked over quietly. When I looked at it, it was Sakuragi Hanamichi with red hair. Sakuragi hunched her back a little shyly, and in addition to her hair, even her face was flushed at this time. In front of him was a slightly delicate female student in a school uniform. After a moment of silence, Sakuragi Hanamichi scratched her head in embarrassment and said in a whimperous manner, "Ah. That one. Leaves. We graduated, and we don't know if we'll see each other again." "I see. Or let's work together. Socialize, right?" As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Ze lowered his head and bit his lip in embarrassment. "Sakuragi-san." Sakuragi Hanamichi suddenly felt bad when he saw her state. Quickly added, "Yezi, I'm serious. I really like you." Bai Ze took a deep breath and plucked up the courage to raise his head. "Sakuragi-san, I'm sorry, what I like is Oda-san in the basketball club." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Ze turned around and ran away. A cold breeze blew through Sakuragi's red hair, which looked extremely desolate. Moment. A few people in front of Bai Ze jumped out. I don't know where they conjured up props, small speakers, streamers and other things. It becomes an atmosphere group at once. Congratulations, Sakuragi. Draw a successful end to your junior high school career. Toot toot. 50. Exactly 50 times. The historical record of Wako Middle School is believed to be difficult to break in the future. Bang. Bai Ze's eyes widened when he looked at the scene in front of him. Champagne? Do you carry this thing with you too? Finale Sakuragi. We are not drunk tonight. The brothers kept arrogantly sprinkling salt on the wounds of Sakuragi Hanamichi. Sakuragi Hanamichi is flawed. Dragged over the fat man Gao Gongwang. Ready to go. Right at this moment, Yohei Mito raised his hand and pressed it on Sakuragi's head. Sakuragi, compared to us, there seems to be an uninvited guest. Episode 10. Yohei Mito raised his finger to point to. It is standing in the corner to watch the lively Bai Ze. Suddenly, several fierce eyes stared over. The yellow-haired Yuji Nan took a few steps forward and looked at Bai Ze with disdain. Boy, what are you looking at? Bai Ze smiled lightly and did not speak. His eyes have been fixed on Sakuragi Hanamichi. Just thought that I had to hurry up and get the lineup of Xiangbei. I didn't expect this to meet in advance with Sakuragi Hanamichi in such a way. This is an important member of the future. To avoid any further deviations, it is better to take this opportunity to confirm Sakuragi Hanamichi first. On the opposite side, Sakuragi Hanamichi is in a rage. After seeing Bai Ze, he immediately transferred his firepower. I couldn't help but roll my sleeves and walked forward. But he was dragged by Yohei Mito. Sakuragi, he's no ordinary little character. Right? Shirasawa in Yokota Kunika. Mito Yohei looked at Shirasawa cautiously. Kanagawa has many bad things, but there are actually a few forces with a prominent reputation. The Sakuragi Legion of Wako Middle School, Shirasawa of Yokota Kuniho, can be regarded as a leading existence. Even though they have never met each other, they have heard a lot of rumors about each other. At this time, Shirasawa was still wearing the uniform of Yokota National Junior High School. Plus that faintly emanating aura. Yohei Mito dared to assert that the person in front of him was Shirasawa. Bai Ze smiled lightly and did not hide it. That's right, I'm Bai Ze. You're the fivesome from Wako Middle School, right? The voice fell. Yeo Gong Wengha and the others immediately became on guard. Yohei is right, this is not an ordinary small character. Bai Ze's most famous record went from being besieged by 7 people to besieging 7 by 1 person. It was also through this incident that he became famous. If Sakuragi wasn't there, they couldn't guarantee that they would solve him. Mito Yohei nodded, are you trying to come and find trouble? Then you can find the wrong person. Speaking of this, he looked up at Sakuragi, who was full of anger, and then added, I'm afraid I also found the wrong time. Sakuragi Hanamichi was already impatient, and his fists clenched. What are you white and black Ze? Dare to touch my eyebrows? I'll kill you right now. Yohaira, let me go. Let me teach this fuck a lesson. Yohei Mito still stopped Sakuragi. As the second force of the Sakuragi Legion, he naturally would not be afraid of fighting. It's just that now Sakuragi is in an irrational state. If they fight, it is Mars hitting Earth. If you are on this street, it is easy to cause unnecessary trouble. Sakuragi, wait. Let's solve it in another place. Bai Ze's face still had a smile on it. This accident came just right. Use the most primitive and easiest way to subdue the cherry blossoms. Fighting is an old skill for him. The combat power of the original body is not under Sakuragi. In addition, now the system has optimized the physical condition. The ability points obtained in the last match are also added to the sports ability. The violence index has made a qualitative leap. You're right, I'm here to find trouble. But it has nothing to do with you, I'm only looking for Sakuragi Hanamichi alone. Bai Ze's words were like adding fuel to the fire. Instantly fill Sakuragi's anger. Bastard. That's great. Prepare to die. A few minutes later. A few people came to a small alley. Mito Yohei, who had been forcibly restraining Sakuragi, was instantly thrown aside by Sakuragi. Come on. I can't wait. Bai Ze rubbed his neck nonchalantly. Sakuragi, since it's a duel, it's more interesting to have a little bet, right? Otherwise, what's the point of who wins and who loses? I see that we will bet on who loses and follow each other in the future. How? Dare or not? Hearing this, a trace of doubt flashed in Mito's eyes. It turned out that this was the meaning of Bai Ze this time. However, as far as he knew, Shirasawa of Yokota was a loner and never partnered with anyone. Is it because it's going to high school? Need to gather some forces? But Sakuragi Hanamichi doesn't care about that. Of course, he didn't think he would lose in the fight. Moreover, his anger has long occupied his head. Good. Let's go. With that, Sakuragi jumped out. In an instant, the alley was full of fist-to-flesh beatings. Bang. Bang. Pound. Mito's eyes widened. They've never seen Sakuragi fight against such an opponent. Even Sakuragi, who is in a state of rage, has a feeling of being downwind. Shirasawa of Yokota is really so exaggerated. Bang. Shirasawa punched Sakuragi in the stomach. Sakuragi took 2 steps backwards and leaned against the wall, her body sliding uncontrollably. Until one of the asses sits on the ground. Sakuragi's face was full of disbelief. This was the first time he had been beaten like this by a person. Even though he was still full of disbelief. But I really didn't feel the strength to stand up again. The 2 arms supporting the ground trembled slightly, and they couldn't use their strength. Yohei Mito was also dumbfounded. Bai Ze's combat power is too terrifying. At this time, Bai Ze was standing there, and it was no exaggeration to say that he could fight full-blood Sakuragi again. Sakuragi. Seeing that Sakuragi had basically lost his combat effectiveness, Mito Yohei and several people hurriedly ran over. Yohira Mito stood in front of Sakuragi. He knew that he was not an opponent, but if Bai Ze wanted to continue, he would accompany him. This righteousness also impressed Bai Ze. Bai Ze took a step back and signaled that the battle was over. Sakuragi Hanamichi sat on the ground with empty eyes, shaking his head and muttering. Impossible. Impossible. It must be an illusion. Bai Ze dusted the soil on his body. Sakuragi, you lost. According to the agreement, you will join me in the future. Of course, if you are not convinced, you can always come again. Sakuragi is still in a world of her own. The brain is completely blank and nothing can be heard. Yohei Mito looked at him in embarrassment. By now, I am afraid that it is difficult to change the result. But you must first understand Bai Ze's intentions. Bai Ze, what the hell are you thinking? What is your intention in asking us to join you? Bai Ze shook his head helplessly, and 2 rows of white teeth were exposed, squeezing out a harmless smile. Fighting, but we are just a bad means. I said I just wanted to make friends with you, do you believe me? Several members of the Sakuragi Legion pulled their faces and shouted in unison, I don't believe it. Bai Ze sighed. Okay, when Sakuragi wakes up, you can help me tell him. It's not interesting to do badly. I recently fell in love with a sport and wanted Sakuragi to join me. Oh yes, according to the bet, he must join me now.